Hi everyone and welcome back to Geordie Pride Voices from the Northeast. On this episode we've had the absolute pleasure of chatting with the incredibly talented Heather Moore, the artist behind the Peacock and the Printmaker. Heather shares her journey from growing up in the Northwest to falling in love with the Northeast, both the place and its people. We dive into everything from what inspired her to become a printmaker, her creative process, and even some proper nostalgic nods to trips to Whitley Bay when she was a little girl. We also get into how her background as a primary school teacher has influenced her work and her passion for keeping creativity alive in kids and adults alike. Plus, Heather opens up about how the local community and coastline are constant sources of inspiration for her art. Of course, it wouldn't be Geordie Pride without a bit of crack and some quick-fire questions, so you'll hear a few cheeky stories from her time wandering the beautiful northeast coast. So whether you're an art lover or a fellow northeasterner, I think you're going to love this episode. So settle in, grab yourself a cuppa and enjoy our chat with Heather Moore. You're listening to Geordie Pride, Voices from the Northeast. I'm Hayley and alongside my cousin Angela, we're thrilled to bring you the stories that share the heart and soul of the northeast of England. Each episode we'll dive into the lives of extraordinary Geordies and those who call the Northeast home, exploring their journeys and celebrating their achievements. From the time to the teas, from the arts to the sports fields, we're here to share the tales of passion, resilience and of course, Geordie pride. So whether you're from Whitley Bay or Washington, Gateshead or Gisborough, or you're just fascinated by the spirit of the Northeast, join us as we natter with the best the Northeast has to offer. Hi Heather, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from and your background in the Northeast?
Yeah, so I'm Heather Moore from the Peacock and the Printmaker. I'm based in Newcastle and have lived here for 11 years now. Yeah, just about 11 years. And my gramps was originally from Whitley Bay, so I've always had a bit of a tie to the Northeast, but didn't come here until I met my husband 21 years ago. So yeah, and I am a printmaker and feel very privileged to be able to do that job that I love in the place that I absolutely love the most.
Oh, fabulous. So whereabouts in the Northeast do you live now?
We're in Heaton. We're surrounded by lots and lots of lovely cafes and yeah, lots of places to get cake, basically.
Yeah. Lots of lovely cafes, isn't there? Yeah, my sister-in-law used to live in Heaton. I used to love going and visit her there. It's such a nice, quirky little place, and it's very unassuming because it's just outside the city, so it's closely connected to everything. But it's just it's got its own little character, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we get the best of everything because, like you say, we're really close to the city centre, but we've got loads of parks around us, and we're not too far away from the coast as well. What more could you want, really?
Nice. I'm not too far from you, Heather. I'm Gosforth.
Oh, lovely.
Not the posh end, though.
And you can't put a girl from Asherton in the posh end.
Well, true. Yeah, I'm an Asherton girl, I'm born and bred, but I've moved a lot in the Northeast and I've ended up in Gosforth.
Not a bad place to be.
Oh, I should be talking like this. I'm just admiring the print that's behind you, Heather. Is it something that you've done?
Ooh, this side.
That side.
This one.
Yes.
Yeah, with all the peacock feathers.
Yes, that's gorgeous.
It's my selfie wall in the studio. When I painted it, I backed up to the wall and drew a little mark where my bum was. And that's where the feathers start from, so that you can stand in front of there. You can stand in front. It's not bum sized, but you can stand in front of it and become a peacock. And that's the idea of it anyway. I'm not one for having white walls, so as soon as I moved in, I started splashing colour all over the place.
Oh wow, it's gorgeous. If you've got any massive big white space that you need my bum to be on, you can do mine.
Yeah, I'm up for it.
I'm going to come to Heaton and you can do that for me, Heather. What sort of, is it just like peacocks that you do, or is it like other sort of things that you, where do you get your inspiration from?
So it did, like my first few prints were all peacocks, and that was before I had even landed on the business name. I've just always really been drawn to peacocks. When we were really little, we used to go to a place called Walton Gardens, because I'm from the northwest, so that was a little place just outside Warrington. Quite similar to Jesmond Dean in that it's got a Pet's Corner type space. And I just used to be completely mesmerised by the peacocks, and I still am when we go to Jesmond Dean. I don't know, it just feels like it's a creature that I've always had a connection with. And I would, just the thought of having the complete audacity that a peacock has to like spread your feathers and strut your stuff and just shimmy it at people, just
we should all do that, really.
Yeah, we should, exactly. It just it just completely captivated me. But no, it's the natural world is where I get my inspiration from mainly. I did like a whole series of seascapes and tidal waves. I've done florals, a few landmarks and things, but it tends to be nature and special places. If it's attached to a memory from my past that's really special to me, or it's something to do with, for example, one of the florals that I did was inspired by a holiday we went on to Spain, and we were just surrounded by all these hibiscus flowers of all incredible bright colours. And I did a watercolour sketch while I was away, and that turned into one of my prints. So I try not to pigeonhole myself too much, because you never know where the inspiration is going to come from, but it does tend to be nature, and then anything with bright colours as well. And even if I start from something that's got quite muted colours, I tend to ramp up the saturation and make it brighter, because colours really a massive part of what I do, and I really latch on to how the colours I use make me feel, and how I can get that kind of joy that I'm feeling and passion I'm feeling across through the colour palettes that I use. So all my work's designed to be mood enhancing, because life can be shitty. It's nice to have nice stuff on the wall, isn't it?
Absolutely.
We all need a bit of mood enhancement at the minute, don't we?
Exactly, definitely.
No names mentioned.
So Heather, did you just discover that you could draw when you were younger and just evolve from that, or is it just something that you've done of late? Or
no, I remember being in year 4, and we had a teacher called Mr. Biggin, who funnily enough went on to be the mayor of Warrington. But when I was little, he was my teacher, and he was just so passionate about the arts in general. Like, we would be singing every day, we would be making something every day. Like, it just was a completely inspiring place to be. And my earliest sort of experience of realizing that I had any sort of skill with art was when he put out a set of plants for us. Just left them out on the table with some pencils and various different things, paper and paints and things like that, and just left it there for us to go and play, really, and experiment. And once I'd finished this drawing, which I didn't really think anything of it, he just was going wild about how amazing this picture was. And then he brought my parents in, and I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Why are my parents in school? And they were like, oh wow, it's so good. And they actually framed it and put it on the wall at home. And that was the point when I thought, oh, I might actually be quite good at this. And then it just became something that I loved to do, like drawing, crafting of any sort, painting, sewing. Anything remotely creative I could get I was never an outdoorsy girl. Let's put it that way. I was inside where it was warm and dry and where I could create things. And then even when I went on to university to do teaching, art was my specialism. And when I actually became a teacher, I was really passionate about how art was taught and led a lot of staff training. Yeah, and it's after I had my daughter, so for about 10 years, when we moved down south, we didn't really have much space in our flat. And the career took over and I lost track of anything remotely creative. And then when we came up north and I had my daughter, I thought, you know what? Something's missing. And we went to Oosburn Open Studios and I was like, oh, the smell of the art materials immediately took me back to A-level art studios. And I just thought, this is it. This is what I've been missing. And it just became a bit of a hobby again for me to have a bit of me time after being mum all day. But then people started asking me if they could buy stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to say no if you want to pay for it.
Yeah, yes,
And it's
please.
sort of, yeah, exactly.
Oh, I think that's amazing. So you've always been a creative person then?
Yeah, definitely. My mum and dad are both pretty creative. My mum's always been into like sewing and knitting and things like that, crafts. And my dad has always, he's an engineer, but he builds boats and planes and things in the garage. And in the last couple of years, he's been making like water features out of old copper pipes and stuff. And it's really amazing to see him becoming more artistic as well.
I've often wondered about this because when I was younger, I used to be very creative, and then I feel, and it's interesting to get both your perspective on this actually, but when I went to school, I felt like once I got into secondary school, so where I was at school in the Northeast, we had a 3-tier system.
Yeah.
So I think probably by the time I got into middle school, I felt like the creativity was beat out of me a little bit. Yeah, I had like art lessons maybe once a week or something like that, but I felt like it got all taken out of the curriculum and it was all like fact based and all that. And I went very science heavy, very maths heavy.
Yeah.
Didn't really lean into my creativity at all because I wasn't really an outlet for it at school. And then when I got a job when I was 21 after university because I was very science driven at that point. And that job was working with fragrances. And I got reintroduced to the creative side of it again. And I was like, I love this. And I felt like I could play with it more. I just feel like, I don't know whether it is the way we're taught in schools in the UK or what, but I don't feel like creativity is really kind of lent into very much.
No, I think when I was at primary school, it was like the teachers I had were just really creative people. So I think we were really lucky in that regard. And then we got to high school and it becomes all about academia and grades, and you need to satisfy this criteria to achieve this. And even in the art rooms, like, don't get me wrong, I love to do my GCSE art, but it was very prescriptive. It was for this project, we are making this out of this, inspired by this person. And there wasn't really much wriggle room. When I got to A level, my A level tutor was completely different. She was absolutely like, she was like mad scientist meets art teacher. She was incredible. Bev Coldclough, like a total whirlwind of a woman. And she really challenged us all to do things completely differently, which was such a complete gear change. But I do feel like earlier on in school, and that one of the reasons I left teaching, I was a primary teacher. One of the reasons I left teaching was because it was really upsetting to see something that I was so passionate about being squeezed out of the curriculum more. And worse, seeing the children who could really benefit from those creative subjects, who really communicated better through the likes of music and art and dance. And that's where they could build up the experiences, where they could develop other skills. But they just weren't afforded that opportunity because we've got X, Y, and Z to do so that they can get these grades in these tests. And I just think, yeah, everybody's different. They all need different outlets. And like you say, even if the creative subject doesn't end up being what you go into as a career later down the line, it completely unlocks a different thing in your brain. it stimulates you in a different way, it teaches you different skills, and these are all applicable to like later in life. And just look, like years ago in lockdown, how many people started buying like colouring books and stuff and started crafting, because it became that kind of therapeutic, joyful outlet that was a distraction from all the madness. And we're not in lockdown anymore, but the world's still bonkers. We all need a bit of a distraction, don't we? And I think it is really sad that, and there's a lot of campaigning going on through Access Art and various other organisations at the moment to raise the profile of the arts in schools, because it sadly it's just not given the time it needs. And I genuinely think that there are children who are really losing out because of that.
Yeah, I agree. I've got two very creative little girls. I've got three girls, but one of them a bit too young at 3 months old. But yeah, and I see it with them. And for me, it's not necessarily just like being able to go into a career with it. Like you've been very lucky to make a career of it, and you've put a lot of hard work into it. But it's like you say, it unlocks certain skill sets that you might not get otherwise. That's how we all think of different ways to do things. It's that creative side of your brain. And yeah, it's just, I think that's why I really kind of envy people who work in the creative side of stuff, because I think you've had to really work hard to get it and keep it and stay with it and make something of it, because it is out of where when we're younger. You move away from teaching for that reason. Do you feel like that was an easy shift for you to move into owning your own business and stuff because of that reason, or did you find it quite difficult?
I was building the business alongside the teaching because I went part-time after having my daughter, but it didn't take long before I realised that I'd wanted to make the change. It was just a matter of building up a savings pot and building the business up and having a plan of action. But it was quite an easy decision to leave from an emotional point of view. I was just ready. I was ready. I'd done it for 17 years and I'd been unhappy doing it for quite a long time. So it wasn't a difficult decision to make from that perspective. But once I moved from that environment of having to do everything a certain way and be really regimented and being accountable to somebody else all the time, to then like no longer having a boss and being able to do whatever the hell I want. At first I was like, yeah, and then I was like, oh my God, what do I do now? What should my day look like?
We both had that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. We're both self-employed, Heather, so we know exactly how you feel.
How many years into? So I think I've been fully self-employed now for 2.5 years, and the thought of going back and working for somebody else, I can't even process it.
It's terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's enough to just fuel you to keep going forever. Like, it's hard work, but just the thought of going back to working for somebody else is enough to keep me going for months. I hope you can't hear that. My dishwasher is kicked into full gear here, so all I can hear is like my sink gurgling. So I just want to point that out if anyone can hear that. No.
It's real life.
Oh yes, we're in the thick of it
here. So Heather, take us through like your process of from what you create, how you create it, to I'm guessing selling your items and things. What's the sort of like process that you do from start to finish?
So the process from the beginning of coming up with the idea of a print to the actual end of the print being ready to sell can take around like 3 months in reality. I mean, it certainly doesn't look like it takes that long on Instagram when I'm going through all my reels and everything's on a time lapse, but I probably spend the majority of the time thrashing things out, getting my ideas right in my sketchbook before I even go near a piece of lino. I'll do loads and loads of different sketches depending on what the idea is. So one that I'm working on at the moment is called the Skipping Bridge. And it relates back to family holidays when we were really little, and we used to go to Wales or the Lake District, and we'd go on these big walks in National Trust. And we were only quite little, and our parents were quite come on, keep going. So every time we came to a little bridge over a stream, they'd get us to come up with a different way to move over it. So we'd skip or we'd jump or we'd sidestep or whatever. And I get my daughter to do that now because she's 9 and she's starting to be a bit like, "Oh, we finished yet?" So I get myself into the place of that memory, and I might go and do some sketches of things that, like, other bridges and places in the park that remind me of it. But I also build in my memory of it as well. So it doesn't necessarily represent a specific place. It's that kind of dream-like thing. So once I feel like I've got the right sort of image in my sketchbook, I start to play around with the color palette and think about how I'm going to ramp up those colors and make it the most joyful, like emotional, moody version of what it can be. And then I do a full size sketch of it. So whatever size the lino and the final print's going to be, I get a big piece of paper out and I do a big sketch and splash the watercolors around, because it's just such a nice fast way of doing it. And actually sometimes when once the watercolors have dried, it leaves like little textures and they actually become part of what I carve later on. So I'll have a rough outline of what I want it to look like. I trace it onto my lino and I start carving. So the most of the prints that I do are like in about 7 or 8 different layers, and I more often than not do something called lino reduction print. So you have one piece of lino, and I usually do a layer of ink before I even carve anything, and that'll be the background color. But then every time I do a new layer, I carve a little bit more away. And so whatever you carve away, it shows the color through from the previous inking until you end up with this sort of layers upon layers of these beautiful textures. And then you have to tap into something that I'm not very good at, which is being patient and waiting for it to dry. And I'm like, want to share it with the world. But in the meantime, I'm like taking photographs and putting together loads of content ready for sharing it. And then it comes to signing it and framing it. And that's a really special moment the first time you see it framed. It is really that cherry on the top. It's that finishing touch, and it makes it like, just finishes it off really, and it makes you able to really imagine it in somebody's home, and it's forever home after that. And then comes the hard bit of the marketing, really.
It's the worst part, isn't it?
It's not the bit I got into the business for, let's put it that way. I'm getting better at it, but yeah, and all the website stuff. But yeah, the fun bit is the making.
It sounds so therapeutic as well. Like I can imagine, like just sitting, carving away and doing that. I would just get lost in it. It sounds fascinating.
That's one of the reasons why I love running the workshops as well, because, and to be honest, most of the people that come have got really stressful jobs. So they're like nurses, doctors, I've social workers. I had a firefighter come once on like the one day she could get off, because it is like the actual carving stage is so therapeutic, because you have to be so zoned into it, because once you've carved something, you can't put it back. So it's that kind of, you trust in your design, you are taking your time with it, and it really slows you down. Your heart rate slows down, your brain really focuses, and it's one of the reasons I loved it so much as a hobby in the first place, is because I didn't think about being a mom. I didn't think about teaching and the stacks of work that I had to do, because I was just so focused on this thing. Everything else just melted into the background. So yeah, the carving is my really calm time. But when I get the inks out, I go a little bit bonkers. So the music gets really loud, which I'm sure my neighbours love.
Party time.
The music, yeah, it's party time. It's time to splash the joy on the artwork, basically. Yeah, absolutely love mixing colours, doing all the inking. That's when you peel it back for the first time and you realise what it is. Has it worked, basically? Because it's really a matter of, obviously there's a lot of skill involved, but there's a lot of trust involved as well, that what you've imagined is going to work, especially when you're layering it up and you've got 8 layers to go. And like sometimes, like when I was doing I made a print at the end of last year called Conquer Hunt, and there was one layer where I put on quite a lot of brown, and brown is not a colour that I use very much. I was doing a forest. Brown was necessary. And I looked at it and I thought, oh my God, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I was like, no, I'm going to finish it. And once the next layer went on and there was a load of metallics and I started bringing in the other colours, I was like, oh, no, it's good. It's good. Because actually, when you look at it, most of the tree trunks are coppers, and there's just like really thin lines of brown for the textures. So actually, it's just an undertone. So I just have to keep reminding myself sometimes to trust the process, which I tell people in workshops, you've got to trust the process. Just got to wait and see how it comes out and play with it. Yeah, but it's if I'm having a rough day and I sit down with my sketchbook or my carving or the inks, it is really, like you say, it's really therapeutic. It takes me back to the reason why I started doing this in the first place. I mean, admin is a reasonable portion of what I do as my job, but sometimes you can get really caught up in that and you have to take yourself aside and say, you know what, yes, I do that admin, but this is what it's all about, and this is where the passion's at, and you have to reignite that and just be like, oh, everything's fine again.
Everything's right in the world.
Everything's right in the world when I'm making it. Just it feels quite surreal that I didn't create any artwork for so long, because I now can't really imagine not making anything. It's such a massive part of me, such a big part of my personality. Yeah.
But you know what? It's one of those things that maybe you didn't do it way back when because your creative side was took away from you for whatever reason, and now's the time that you need to do it. There's always a reason for when you do things in life, isn't there?
Absolutely. People ask me if I miss teaching, and I say no, but also I don't regret doing it either, because there's so many things that I learned from teaching. And also, while I was doing my degree, I met my husband. If I hadn't met him, I wouldn't have my daughter. These things, like you say, it all happens for a reason. And the experiences that I've had from my life all work into my artwork anyway, and how I operate my business, the kinds of people that I choose to work with, because I get to choose who I work with. And that's, I think,
it's always the best part.
Definitely. And having worked perhaps with some people in the past who I would choose not to work with again, that makes you all the more it makes you all the more grateful, doesn't it, that you actually have complete control over what it is you do in your business. It's a magical thing.
So when it comes to selling your paintings and your artwork, Heather, have you got like specific client base, or do you do commission pieces and things like that?
It's a mixture. Like, I have the website, the Peacock and the Printmaker.com, and that's where anybody can go and view my work and purchase it. And I drive traffic there through my Instagram and my Pinterest and all the other social media things, and obviously coming onto podcasts. And I did BBC Radio Newcastle the other day and things like that. So it's really varied how I reach my audience, but they do tend to be sort of professionals and like business owners themselves who tend to really latch onto what I do. Like I say, there's a lot of people in high stress jobs that come to me for the workshops, because it's a different way of winding down other than just going out for a drink or whatever. It's a more social kind of creative experience. But yeah, it does seem to be a different set of people that come to my workshops compared to the ones that want to buy the artwork, which surprised me at first. But then I guess it's just different ways of experiencing the art, isn't it? I'm in a few galleries as well, and I'm a member at Northern Print in the Eusbourne Valley, so I do projects with them. So once a year they put together a theme, and all the printmakers that are part of the organisation get to come together and respond to whatever the theme is for the exhibition and create brand new work, and then we exhibit it all together, and it's really fascinating to see. And then we do open studios as well, which as we record, the studio is all ready to go for this weekend. And that's a really lovely way to meet new people that are interested in what I do as well, because they get to actually come into the studio, see where I create, have a little flick through sketchbooks, stuff like that, and they get to really immerse themselves in the full process. It's like stepping into the Instagram, if you like, but it's a bit more tidy because I've sorted it all out before they've come in.
Got the Hoover out.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really varied, but I think in general, like most people like to come and meet me and be in the studio, or come and see the work up close in a gallery or a shop before they purchase, because art is an investment and it's a really personal thing as well. So I think people need to like stand in front of it and see it, and that's why I offer people to come and visit the studio if they're interested in looking at something, because you want to know that it feels right and that it's going to be the right piece of work to be on your wall. It's something you're going to look at every day, isn't it? You don't want to just bung anything on your wall.
Yeah, and I think it's such a unique style as well. I was saying that to Angela before we started chatting tonight. It's like it's something different, like something you don't usually see, like compared to just a standard normal like print on a wall. And I think that makes it really special, doesn't it? So you'll want people to come and look at it and understand exactly what it's like and get them to fall in love with it just like you have as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When we look at your inspiration, so you mentioned before you had an upbringing in the Northwest, and then you've had 20 odd years in the Northeast. Like, how do you feel as though the Northeast has inspired you? You mentioned nature, and we've got a lot of nature in the Northeast. We've got the countryside, we've got
by the bucket loads. Yeah,
I know we're spoiled, aren't we? We're spoiled with it. So is there any particular places or anything that really inspire you in the Northeast, and how do you use that in your work?
Yeah, a big draw for me has been being so close to the coast. And the first time that I visited Newcastle, and I mentioned to my then boyfriend, now husband's parents, that my dad's dad, my gramps, was from Whitley Bay. We went for a drive and they took me to show me Whitley Bay. And just the moment I got there, I just felt like I'd come home, and it was a really emotional moment. And I well up a little bit when I'm thinking about it as well. But I just, my husband often asks me what it is about my gramps that makes me so emotional, because I don't know, there's just this connection with him. He discovered painting at a really late age. I think he was probably about 60 when he started painting. And like in school holidays, he'd sit down with us and teach us like how to use paints and how to paint water and things like that. And so when I think of seascapes, I think of him, and walking on the beach at Whitley Bay just feels like the best place in the world to be. I don't care what the weather's doing. If I'm walking on the beach there, I just feel at home. And to be sat on the sand watching the waves, it's simultaneously quite an overwhelming thing to think, oh my God, I'm such a small part of this world. Look at those enormous waves and it just stretches on forever. But at the same time, it's such a calming place to be, because it almost feels like every wave that goes back out again washes away some of the stress. And it's just become a really special place. The coast in general, where we are, we're just spoilt for gorgeous beaches, aren't we? Which is just something I don't feel like I had access to that in the Northwest. There's a couple of nice beaches, but like the only one I really remember going to is there was St Anne's, which was all right, and then there was Blackpool. And the only memory I've got of being on Blackpool Beach with my mum and my brother was me and my brother digging, And we were like, Mum, why is it black? She was like, stop digging, it's oil, leave it, it's dirty. And you just think, it's a completely different world, isn't it? Like, northeast coastline is just so beautiful. So I think that's why I've created so many artworks around the coast, because I just feel compelled to draw every time I've been there. It never gets old.
You can see it's like the way you're talking. Like, I looked before, and me and Angela both had a massive grin on my face when you were talking about the coast, because you could see how much it means to you. And I totally get it, because I live in West Yorkshire now, and whenever we go home, I'm like, I need to go to the beach. I need to go to the beach, because it's just, it feels like home. And like you, like, I don't care who's walking with us. Like, I just go really quiet myself, and it's meditative, and it's
definitely
meditative.
Yes.
In a way. It's like just looking at this sea and just how beautiful it is, and I just miss that the most. It's just the smell of it. Like, as soon as I get out the car, open the car door, and I can smell the sea air, and it just hits you, and it's something else, really. You can't compare it to anywhere else.
Your shoulders immediately drop, don't they? And you just, it is. It's the meditation. Yeah, definitely. And now I get to share that with my daughter as well. We go walking along the beach, and she'll be hunting for shells and sea glass, and it becomes this kind of treasure hunt. And
she'll remember that as well. She'll remember that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You should get together with when Robson Green does the northeast things. Can you imagine doing painting for every scene that he place that he goes to? That would be amazing.
That would be incredible. I love that idea.
There's an idea for you.
Funnily enough, my daughter has become totally mesmerised by Robson Green's programmes. She's, as a general rule, she's not bothered about Countryfile or any of that stuff. But the minute Robson Green comes on the telly, she's absolutely captivated. But yeah, it is. It's a Geordie on the telly. Like,
we need him on here as well, don't we? Do a podcast with him.
Yeah, listening, Robson. Come and chat to her.
I mean, Shy Ben's getting out.
Oh, look, she's got the lingo.
So was it quite an easy decision for you, Heather, to choose to live in the northeast? Was it just like a hell yes, like I'm going?
Yeah. So before I even met my husband, I was already a Newcastle United fan. The first night of my second year at uni was his first night of his first year at uni. And like, I think he said he was running late or something, so he didn't change out of his football shirt, and he just went into the bar like that. But that's the reason why I approached him. I was a bit sozzled at the time, because I wouldn't normally approach anybody unless under the influence of alcohol. At that time in my life, I was very shy. But I went over and chatted to him, and turned out his new friends, one was a Everton fan, one was a Leeds fan. So we proceeded to take the mickey out of both of them, tell them how rubbish they were, and bonded over football. And yeah, it just, like I say, the first time that I came to Newcastle, for starters, he took me to St James's Park, and that in itself was
always a winner.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was such an emotional thing. He bought me a goalie top with Given on the back, and I was just like, oh my God, Shay. And I just totally bought into it. And as soon as I was here, I was like, yeah, this is where we need to be. It took us a while. It took us about 10 years to get here, because like I say, we had a bit of a stint down south, and then we decided that it was time to move up north, and I eventually got a job up here. And then then it was time to have my daughter, have Maddie. Just completely changed our life as well. And to listen to her, you would not know she was a Geordie. Like, where's your accent?
Oh, she's not got a Geordie accent.
No, it's so disappointing.
Oh, man.
Well, my two daughters lost their Geordie accent. But it's absolutely good. And I keep trying to teach them Geordie words, and they're just not very good at it, if I'm honest.
My husband keeps telling me that once she goes to high school, she'll develop more of an accent.
She'll be tagging like this.
I think she probably will. Some of her friends are quite posh, and so are her cousins. To be fair, her cousins are pretty posh. So I think that's part of the reason why she hasn't really developed much of an accent. But
there's still time.
She's only 9. She'll get there. It was the same when I first met my husband's friends, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to meet all the Geordies." Oh my God, they were just so posh. I was like, "What the hell?"
Oh. So you need to find a new circle, Heather.
Nice. Spend
Remember me and Angela.
Don't worry, I have diversified my collection of Geordie friends. It's fine. But yeah, it's like, come on.
What would you say is like the biggest difference between the Northwest and the Northeast?
It just feels like a totally different community.
Or a friendly bunch, aren't we?
Yeah, there's a reason why they always choose Geordies on the telly to do the voiceovers, isn't it? Because it is just really engaging and friendly, and yeah, it's just you go for walks and everyone says hello to each other. Your neighbours talk to each other. I was like, oh.
No.
When we lived down south, we once said hello to our next door neighbour, and she ran away and locked her door. I was like, what?
That probably traumatised that poor lady.
I know. It's just don't do it. It's just not done down south. Yeah.
It's funny you say that though, because you were talking about you saw your husband in a Newcastle shirt and you approached him and started chatting to him. And that got me thinking, it's like, it is one of those things, like, you know, when you go on holiday and you're out and about and you see someone in a Newcastle top, you can get right good banter with them. You can just go and have a chat with them. You can go and sit next to them in the bar and you'll just have a really fun night with them. I've never met someone on holiday that's a Geordie and you just don't connect with them immediately. It's just one of those things. I think it's just you don't. I don't know if it's different if you're not connected to the Northeast.
It's just little things like we'd go out for a curry and just get chatting to other people that were in the restaurant, or you just be out and about and people are dead friendly. And it's friendly enough in the Northwest, but it's very different down south. Yeah, I mean, we made a lot of friends down south and all beautiful people, and then they come to visit you up here and they're like, oh my God, everyone's so friendly. And we're like, you can just go home and be like this. Just go home and talk to people. The biology isn't different. It's people just say hi.
It is bizarre though. I wonder what do we think it is? What is it that stops?
I don't know.
It's like there's this invisible barrier and I just don't know what it is. I don't get it personally because I noticed it when I moved down to West Yorkshire, and people are friendly enough, but it's ramped up a level in the Northeast. It's like, and it's quite noticeable, and I can't quite put my finger on what it is that makes that so unique. But I'm not complaining. I love it. Like, I'm a right chatterbox. I'll chat to anyone. If you just need to have a pair of ears, and I'll start gobbing onto you. Like, it's one of those things. It's just my upbringing, and I don't know, it's special. I think it's unique to the Northeast.
I think there's a real sort of unity about it, particularly Newcastle as a city, which obviously is where I spend most of my time. Just thinking about what's happened recently with winning the cup and stuff, and you walk around the city and like the council have put up all these amazing banners about the pride of Newcastle and getting behind everybody, and it just like all these events that happen just bring everybody together and everyone just like celebrates as one. And I guess from a sporting perspective, it's very different in the Northwest because the vast majority of cities have got two different clubs, and so there's always an element of division and competition. And whereas I don't know, everything just seems a bit more cohesive and relaxed in the Northeast. Yeah,
I agree. And can I just ask, did you two ladies cry on Sunday when we won the cup? Because it can't just be me.
I didn't cry, but I was very relieved.
I was pleased, but I didn't cry. I'm actually at St James's on Sunday watching the women play, so I'm excited about that.
Oh, they're going to show the cup off there as well.
Yeah,
I absolutely love how they're elevating the women's game as well. It's
apparently it's going to be
really good crowds.
Yeah,
amazing crowds. Yeah.
So no, looking forward to that. So we've got the girls going, my girl and my partner's little girl. So inspiration for them.
Yeah, it is. It's a really lovely thing. Like my daughter's sort of quite hit and miss with football. She loves Murphy because 23 is her number. So if he's done anything in the game, she wants to know. Otherwise, she's, Daddy, you're being too loud.
Unless it's Murphy.
Unless it's Murphy.
I love him too.
She's right in the room and she's, let me see. But I think even though she's not, and I think she will become more into it. I don't think she'll really have a choice, to be honest. But I think seeing how highly valued the women's team are is really incredible for her, because let's face it, when we were younger, I don't remember seeing any women playing football. I remember thinking it was quite weird that we had a girls' football team at primary school, which I joined and was god awful, but really enjoyed it. It was just not good. But I
remember being in goal, getting balls fired at my head, and it was the worst point of my life. It was horrible. I just stood there, just getting things fired at my face, and I just remember crying. It was horrible. I'm not cut out for football.
It's traumatic. No. It's triggering.
I'm not particularly sporty, but I think I enjoy watching it, and it's so easy to get whipped off, isn't it? Yeah. So watching the match was, it was emotional. I just kept, because my husband had gone off to go and watch it with his cousin, just kept getting messages from him like, oh my God, they're going to throw it away. Oh my God. Oh, look, VAR. Oh. And I was like, keep the faith. I thought he was going to have an aneurysm. I was like, keep the faith. It's going to be fine.
I had that with my husband, because we were sitting watching it as a family. And as I mentioned, I've got a 3-month-old baby. And so my husband was holding her, and I was like, give her to me. Because if it's score, you're going to throw her in the air. I was like, I can't cope with it. So yeah, I just, like, I was getting stressed, and then if he was getting stressed, I would take her and we'd just keep swapping. And then it got to the point where I was like, Annabelle, like my oldest daughter, she's 13, I was like, Annabelle, you're going to have to hold her, because me and your dad are like, we can't cope yet. But yeah, very emotional. But I'm the same as you. It's just so nice to see like the women's game getting a lot more exposure, and the fact that they're managing to fill so many seats at St James's as well. I think that's amazing.
And they're good as well.
Yeah, exactly. They've got so much potential. I mean, they don't have the spending issues like the men's do, but so yeah, let's just hope it continues to grow. And I think it's an inspiration for our little girls, that's for sure. So Heather, is there any exciting projects or plans that you've got coming up for the Peacock and the Printmaker? Any workshops or anything you'd like to tell us about?
I'm starting to change the way I do my workshops. So I used to set a date and then sell tickets and bring people into the studio. But I've decided that instead of doing that, that people can book me to come to them. So essentially I bring everything for the workshop to their house, and they can have up to 10 people, and I come, run it all, tidy it all up, do all the cleaning, take it away. So you guys get to have a lovely creative experience at home with all your friends, your family, whoever you want. And then you want to carry on the night and have a lovely drink afterwards, I will leave you to it, and I will take all the mess away. But yeah, so you get to pick from one of 3 themes, or we can put together a bespoke theme, or it's really good for hen do's and things like that, because not everybody wants to do the boozy night out or the spa weekend or whatever. Some people are looking for something a bit different. So I do either inspirational landscapes, colourful florals, or patterns on fabric where you can make your own tote bag that you can use all the time. Yeah. Yeah, and then
quite fancy that yourself.
Yeah, it's a really lovely night. It's a couple of hours, and it just gives you that creative headspace, that time to relax, but also the time to like actually properly bond with each other and connect with each other and make some lovely new memories. And if it's something like a baby shower or a hen do, then I encourage people to, of all the prints that you've made, give one to said hen or mum to be, and they can start to put together like a little gallery wall of their memory of that time with you. And it's just a bit different, isn't it? And then just putting together new work and working on the many projects that I've got churning around my brain. It all takes time to realise them.
Yes, I can imagine. I've got one last question. It intrigues me before we go into the quick fire, I think. If you were to design a print to represent Geordie Pride, what do you think it would look like? What elements would you include in there?
Good question.
It is a good question.
Do you like Eddie Howe with the cup in the middle?
It could be, couldn't it?
Eddie Howe, peacock feathers.
Oh, can you imagine? That would be amazing.
If you buy it off your Heather, I want a little portion of the money.
I'll let you know. I'll keep in touch. Given that the sea is like such a big pull for me, the main sort of Geordie Pride type image that springs to mind around the sea is the New Year's dips, where people run into the sea with like their Santa hats on and things like that. And it's just, the first time I saw that, I was like, what the hell are they doing? It's
bonkers.
It's absolutely bonkers. Why are they going in? What are they jumping in the North Sea for? But it's it just is so of this region and so representative of the community spirit and the just general joy for and pride for where people are from, that I think that would be a perfect way to celebrate the Northeast. Yeah, because it's like nowhere else. You would not get that anywhere else in the country.
I think
it doesn't count when you go to Spain and people are jumping in the sea. It's just not the same, is it?
Nah. No sea cuts different. Oh, lovely. Should we go into the quick fire, Angela? Do you want to go first?
Oh, we'll leave the one that we'll always ask everyone, the last. So, how about, what is your favourite local dish, Heather?
Oh, I think it's got. This doesn't sound very Geordie, but chicken chips and curry sauce from Marshall's in Tynemouth.
Nice.
Can't beat it.
Yeah,
yummy.
Yeah, it's
nice. Classic.
Well, when you think about all the Northeast foods, I suppose none of them really are.
Oh, I've never got into peas pudding. I can't wrap my head around it.
Me neither. No.
Peas pudding.
No.
I think it's a Marmite thing, isn't it?
Hillian wasn't me a true Geordie, mate, if you didn't like peas pudding.
I know. Lock us up and throw away the key. I'll accept it. I'll have a pork dip, though. Give us one of them.
Pork dip.
Next one. Who is the best person to come out of the Northeast? Apart from Alan Shearer.
Oh no, see, it's tough, isn't it? He's definitely up there. I did have a poster of him up in university and I was very fond of it. Best person to come out of the Northeast.
You can say Alan Shearer if you want. We can leave him on the table.
Do you know what? Sarah Davies is pretty awesome.
Oh, I do like her, yeah.
I think
she's very funny as well.
She does some amazing things with charities, and she's an ambassador for SmartWorks, which is an incredible charity. And she's put craft on the map, really. She's made craft like a viable business, which is pretty inspirational. So
that's a good one. Yeah, because I do like her. She's so young as well, still, and she's achieved so much for being so young, and it's just like it's nice to see a woman being successful on a national stage that's from our area. I think it's really inspirational.
Yeah, definitely. Next one. What's your favourite hidden gem in the Northeast? Somewhere people should know about?
Oh, I don't know that I know about the hidden gems. I'm quite fond of Northumberlandia. I don't think it's particularly hidden, but I think like when I've had family come and visit and we've taken them there, it's just really special, isn't it? It's just this piece of land that's developed this whole other personality just because somebody had a creative idea and turned it into, it's gone from just being a pile of rubble and rock to something really beautiful.
Yeah, it has, and the views are amazing at the top.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
The
I've actually fell from the top to the bottom, not the top, but like the part where
what were you doing?
my boobies are. I've literally just
So hang on, you fell off at it.
That's a big pair. That's a big pair of boobs.
I know. And cream jacket, white pants, nah.
Oh no!
From the top to the bottom. My daughter's amusement.
Only my family could do that, Heather. Only my family. What can I say?
I hope nobody took a picture.
Oh,
I hope they did.
Mind you, yeah.
The video would be better.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
It was probably all over Snapchat.
Oh God. I think when you do the promo for this episode, you're going to have to put some sort of photograph or clip of that.
I'll find it. I could do
that. Right. So, the number one thing you love about living in the Northeast?
The coast. Hands down, it's got to be the coast.
Yeah.
It's just.
Have you got a favourite beach apart from Whitley Bay?
Probably Tynemouth. That's where we had all our photographs after our wedding. It was Tynemouth, Long Sands.
It's such a beautiful beach.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous beach. It was raining a little bit, but we didn't care. And then when we turned around, no,
it doesn't affect the beauty at all, does it?
No, not at all. When we turned round to go back up the ramp, we spotted a woman who was over the outdoor swimming pool area. And she was squatting in the corner there, and she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Did you get me in your wedding photograph?" Oh my God, we fell about laughing. Oh, we just went from having this beautiful, serene view, all these gorgeous photographs, turned round, and there's somebody doing a business in the corner of the beach.
Oh dear.
I think for those of you listening on the podcast, you need to hop over to the YouTube video just to see our facial expressions. I just wasn't expecting that.
No, I hope it wasn't a number two.
We weren't expecting it either. I've never seen it since. I've never seen it before. But yeah, she decided our wedding day was the day that she was going to have an outdoor beach week.
Oh, a week. Okay, so it wasn't a dump. Okay.
No.
Slightly.
I mean, I didn't go and inspect it, but
yeah.
I think it was just a week.
I suppose when you've got to go.
I know. Yeah, it hasn't spoiled the beach at all. It's just a funny story, isn't it now? But there was me and my husband, obviously, the photographer, and 4 ushers and 4 bridesmaids, and we were all just completely, oh my God, what's happening?
Oh God, what a story.
I know. Anyway, last question, Heather, because we'll probably exhaust you tonight. What is your go-to Greg's order?
Oh, see, so I'm lactose intolerant, which makes me very sad when I go to Greg's.
Oh,
so I have a vegan sausage roll, but before I was lactose intolerant, I always used to go for a chicken bake. Just love the creamy sauce. I do miss them.
It's my go-to.
Yeah.
A chicken bake. Yeah, that's my favourite. Yeah. Can't be. It used to be we were having this conversation the other day. It used to be a cheese pasty. I used to love them. They're not the same anymore. So chicken bake, number one.
Potato.
If I'm very hungry, then I'll have a steak bake to go with it as well. But now I have to have the vegan ones. So it's not as much fun. But yeah. I know.
Although to be fair, I've heard good things about the vegan ones. So.
Oh, they're decent. But
they just look
it's no chicken slice. Yeah, because they can't put egg wash on it or anything. So there's not really any colour on it, but it still tastes nice.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try one.
Be brave one day.
I'll be like, can you just put a bit of egg wash on the top, please, before you cook it?
Yeah. And at Christmas you can go in. Yeah. Oh, doesn't matter. But I really confuse people when I go out for dinners and I'm like, I'll have the vegan what's it, but can you put some chicken on it? Like, what? But at Christmas, my husband will jump in and get me like a pot of pigs in blankets. I love it when they do the pigs in blankets at Christmas.
Nice.
Yeah, nice and crispy. Really good.
You should do that all year round, really.
I should, shouldn't I? I know.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think we've kept you long enough, Heather. I do apologise, but we've had a lovely chat.
That's all right. Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
If anyone wants to follow you on socials, where's the best place to find you?
I'm most active on Instagram at the Peacock and the Printmaker.
Super.
I'm the same on Facebook, and just if you type that in, you'll find me.
Yeah, and we can look out for those workshops you mentioned as well. So
Yes.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Brilliant. I look forward to seeing all about them. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to chat to us. We've had a lovely time. And yeah, everyone follow Heather, look out for those workshops and join in and get those relaxation levels down with a bit of printing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thanks, Heather.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support Geordie Pride further, then don't forget to subscribe, share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from us, you can follow us on Instagram at Geordie Pride. Until next time, keep that Geordie Pride shining bright.